Okay. Hello, this is Pautas, Error Instruments, and this is the Singularity, some new model that we have that is a little bit based on tropical noise, but also on a lot of other things. It's also somehow it has related to this guy, Noon. And why is this? Well, I will tell you that because it can be active and passive. So this one, you see the light goes from green away, and that makes it that you turn the power off of the model. In here are analog oscillators and capacitors that fill up and roll out. And this thing can work like a passive drum machine, like we know from the Noon, with the same kind of sounds. That makes it funny. I will show a small example. So we go to the output. We take one capacitor out and the one in. We go to the bridge from the mix, somewhere in the divider. Like this. I can turn the power a little bit off if I want. Then you see over here with the green light. Then you have the rollout. Okay, now I can add a pulse from this trigger sequencer, for example, just somewhere into the divider. How crazy this sounds. Like this. Now I make it passive, so I take the power a little bit off. And this can be one of the sounds from Noon. And now we look up to it. But what's funny is we can put more triggers in there, but also we can put this in a different kind of divider for different sounds. So there are 12 jacks or 12 different sounds in there that we can choose from. Let's listen. Now I go low. Now I go high. And for people who have Noon like me, we think, hey, that looks familiar. That sounds familiar. Now I can also put more triggers into there, how it sounds, where it sounds. So let's listen if I add another trigger. I can also put more to the mixer. So if I take a lower one with it together, and that I do in the mixer, then you will hear it now. This kind of sounds we know from Noon. Now we have 3 different sounds and one trigger in there. What I gonna do now, it's on passive mode, but I can turn a little bit power on it, and then you get something between. So think about it, the analog chips can run on 15 volts. Now it gets almost 0, and then I add it up till 4, for example, the oscillators, and then you can hear the difference in sounds. you got this kind of between sound, between passive and analog. So now the model runs, for example, on 4 volt instead of 12 plus, instead of 12 min. And then you have this weird rollout of the chips and the capacitors. This is now in the between. So if I play now with the oscillators, the knobs, I kind of check what I get from this. Now what's also really strange, so the knob, the power between passive and active, this one, very important one, we put a control voltage on it. So it can control himself when it's going to be open and closed, and it's stuck to himself. You can do this also with an external source, and then you have the weird outroll if you want to do this. But this is really interesting. Now I'm going to turn a little bit the speed from the trigger sequencer down. Like that, yeah. Interesting. And think about it, that I just have one small capacitor in there and this one nothing. You will see if I put a capacitor in here that it's gonna be more less crazy, but you can also do a bigger one in there or a smaller one, or play with it, you know, or two. I want to thank you for watching, and yeah, it's an Inspire model, and we found it out later that it has so many weird influence on a lot of stuff, and I put so much in there to see if we can broke it or something, but it's all all the time staying good. We're gonna make this one more and putting more attention to this, because this is the sound that sometimes I like these things. There is not so much about passive drum sounds in Eurorack, and yeah, the whole outroll of this kind of chips and a capacitor, it's really interesting if you like the crazy sounds. I want to thank you for watching. This is about Singularity. Now it's here in black, and we have it in the shop of Error Instruments, but it comes also later in more with gold and maybe also a white one. So there's some work in process. I want to thank you. Have a very good evening. Bye bye.